aka the Middleman CEO. Welcome to the channel. By the way, you can follow me at Middleman CEO on Instagram as well as Facebook. And I hope what I'm about to give you blesses you. I hope that it's going to give you a different perspective on whatever situation it is that you might be dealing with currently. Welcome to the channel. Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed day. I just want to interrupt your day, give you some information that you could probably use to be successful. And by the way, for everyone who's in the masterclass, man, I super appreciate you guys allowing me to teach you what I know on how to start a middleman business. So the students are doing great. We have students averaging anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500 their first month, as high as 4,800. Still not bad when you're making that from home using your phone. So without doing any hard work, it's simple. It's very easy. In fact, other companies already do it, like Uber, Airbnb, Lyft. All these companies are middleman companies. And so what we do is we just essentially just copy and paste their blueprint and then use it for the service industry. And that's how we make money, by booking customers, taking deposits, and dispatching the work to someone else. That's probably my favorite part, even more than making money. My first year in 2020, I made $77,000 doing it, on pace to do $350,000 this year. So that's a win. But probably my favorite part is not so much even the money. It's the freedom that I don't have to be on a job. I don't have to do morning meetings. I don't have to work a 9 to 5 or a 5 to 9. Or 9 to 9. I've done it. I don't have to do those things. I don't have to get written up. I don't have to have people watching the clock when I'm late for lunch, because I was late a lot. I don't have to decide where I can eat based on how much time I have on a break. I don't have to wait on Johnny to get back because Johnny's always late, and now my break's late, right? And I don't have to go home stressed out, taking this home to my family and just beating them down with all this bad energy. And that was no way to live. And so, in fact, today we're going to talk about that. But I need something from you before we get into it. If you don't mind, smash the red subscribe button right down there at the bottom. Help me to grow this channel. You've been doing a great job. I appreciate it. Let's continue. Also, if you don't mind, smash the thumbs up. That way, YouTube's algorithm grabs these videos and share them with more people like you who need this information and need this content. So I don't know if you know, we are in a very, very tough time economically. And I always say, in spite of what you guys see on the news, it's not all true. A lot of it's fluff. But I'm here to no fluff you. I'm here to change your life. So the way that I'm going to do it, and I can't guarantee I can do it because I can only tell you this information, and then you actually have to go and implement it. Is that fair? So I'll give you the answer to the test, but you have to write them down. All right. So if you haven't been paying attention, and I know a lot of you have been watching, sports, the Final Fours and stuff like that, I get it. But if you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot going on economically. So just about a week ago, the government came out and the government printed 1.2, if I'm not mistaken, trillion dollars. So the government printed $1.2 trillion. What does this do? The printing of money by the government destroys savings accounts. So I always tell you guys, don't focus on saving money. So I know by now you guys are going, what? What's this guy talking about? Some idiot in a pink hat, random guy on YouTube is telling me don't save money. I'm supposed to save money for rainy days. I'm supposed to save money for emergencies. And I'll ask you this. Okay, when was the last time you had an emergency or a rainy day where you had to spend, and I'll just give you a number, where you had to spend $5,000 same day? Think about it. When was the last time you had to spend $5,000 on an emergency or a rainy day the same day? See? You don't need it, right? So if you park your money to the savings account, then the government printing money just destroys your savings. So when was the last time, again, that you had to spend $5,000, $4,000? What about $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 in a day? See, I believe that you can take care of your emergency account, if you want to call it that, and your rainy day account, if you want to call it that. I wouldn't manifest that, but that's up to you. I believe that you can support these things happening with something as simple as a credit card. You can finance these issues if you have them, or You can leverage or collateral. I'll just put that. So let's just say you have no money in a bank account, but you do have a credit limit, right? So if you have an emergency or a rainy day, like you like to call it, you can fund it with the credit card, or you can fund it with some type of leverage, or you can borrow, get a loan, something like that, right? So any of these things and more, any of these things could work. That's why I'm always telling you guys, saving money is a terrible idea. And the reason I say that is because over the past few years, the government has printed so much money, it's destroying your savings. Not only that, the banks, remember that the banks are in on this too. And so this channel is to educate you and teach you about finances, because I tell you that finances in 2020 changed, that the rules of money in 2020 changed, and it'll never be the same again. So banks used to pay you this thing called interest, right? So saving money in a bank a few years ago used to pay you this thing called interest. So interest meant, hey, if your money's sitting in here, we'll pay you to leave it here. And the banks didn't pay you that just because they like you. They don't like me either. The banks paid you that so that you could leave your savings in a bank account, and then the banks could use your savings to loan it out on high interest loans, and so that the bank can make bank, pun intended. See what I did there? So the banks would use, somebody's following, I appreciate it. By the way, guys, I know it's the middle of the day. I'm here in Dallas. Let me know. I'm always curious where you guys are watching from. Let me know what city and state if you don't mind sharing it. You don't have to, but I always like to know where people are watching from. I got Africa watching. I got the UK watching. I got the Caribbean watching. I got Canada watching. And of course, here in the States. You guys your lives are going to change if you learn and implement this. Hey, Toronto's in the building. Listen, guys, if you learn this and you implement it, it's going to change your life. And that's what I'm on here to do. So I always say this, and I'm try to keep my word. I'm not going to be long. By the way, smash thumbs up if you're tracking what I'm talking about. So here we go. And by the way, we had a great meeting last night for all of the students that enrolled last night and took advantage of the masterclass. I can't wait to work with you. I've already heard from several of you, and they know I give them about 2 weeks to finish the course, and then we go right into mentorship and training. So I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are on board. It's a blessing to be able to share this, because what I want to do, again, I want to change your life financially. Here's what I know. Working 9 to 5 is dead end. Here's what I know. Saving money in a bank account is a dead end. Okay, I'll put it over here. Here, I'll show you real quick. All right. So this, you ever go down a street and you see a sign that says what? The sign says dead end. As soon as you see that sign that says dead end, what do you typically do? Come on, man. What do you typically do? I'll let you guys answer that. I'm not going to give it away. What do you typically do when you're driving down the street and you see a sign that says dead end? What do you do? Come on. What do you do? You already know the answer. You guys already know the answer. You got it. You got it. You turn around. You just turn around. Right? Because it's obvious you're going the wrong way. I'm here to tell you that you are going down a road that is a financial dead end. And the same way you go down a road and you see the sign that says dead end, road out, or anything like that, the first thing you typically do is look for a place to turn around. Yet, financially speaking, most people don't turn around, right? They don't turn around, financially speaking. If this is making sense to you, smash the thumbs up. That's the only way I know it's making sense to you, right? So let me know if you're tracking. If you're not tracking, you're lacking, okay? So the first thing that happens when you go down a road, you see a dead end sign, you turn around. You look for a place to turn around. Guys, we do it all the time because we're always in the wrong place, right? Always going the wrong way. And so we look for a place to turn around. And now I'm telling you that the old rules that you used to play by are game over. You've got to play by different rules. So there's a mass exodus right now going on from the corporate world on two fronts. Number one, money's leaving the market, which is driving the mass exodus. And this ain't a voluntary exodus, this one. It's layoffs, furloughs, go home the day, never come back. Take a vacation, never return. Hey, we're firing you, don't need your entire department. And so the exodus is happening because money's leaving the market. So when money leaves the market, the businesses don't need the extra payroll. And so the businesses break up with you. Oh, my bad. You thought you were married to the company. No, they're not married to you. You're their side piece. Did I say that? Yeah, you're their side piece. You're the company's side piece. Don't look at me that way. I'm the company's side piece too. They use me 9 to 5. Whenever they need me, hey, can you be in tomorrow? They take me out, show me nice things, treat me nice. Hey, man, you want to get that promotion? Yeah, there's a promotion up. Yeah. Hey, we're going to give you a pay raise. Stick around. Yeah, have you filled out those new insurance papers? Yeah, go ahead and get that. Hey, how's little Susie? How's your son Peter doing? How's everybody doing? And then all of a sudden, some new person or new system rose in. We're gonna call it new booty, right? So new booty rose in. Then what do they do with you? Right? They kick you to the curb, right? Why? Because again, you're not an asset to the company. You're a liability to the company. I know you thought you were an asset. I thought I was an asset until I found out I was a liability. Why? Because I affect the business's bottom line. And so you've got to understand that, wait a minute, this business is flirting with me. They're loving on me, but they ain't trying to put no ring on it, right? Right? So what are they trying to do? They're just trying to date me and use me and then give me back. So the business is treating you like a side piece. You need to treat the business like a side piece. You need to treat your paycheck like a side piece. Until you get that mindset, nothing's going to change for you. They're simply going to use you until you got nothing left in the tank, send you home. Then you're going to realize, oh crap, I don't have enough money to retire. Whatever that amount is, only God knows. Number two, I left money in a dying 401k account because they told me don't touch it. They told me to trust them. They told you, huh? They told me to leave the money. They're going to invest it in my best interest. They told me it was tax deferrable. Well, they didn't tell me the tax was going to double. How I know the taxes are going to double? Because the government keeps printing money. Guess who pays that back? You still hadn't figured that out, huh? You still hadn't figured out that the government trained you to go to school, get good grades, get a college degree, get a job. Do you? Okay, I'll prove it to you. What was the first thing they asked you in school when you got to kindergarten? Other than your name, they said, well, they already knew your name. They said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then what did you say? I guarantee you didn't say what type of business you wanted to own. You said what kind of job you wanted to have. See, they were programming you. They've been pre-programming you forever. And so you grow up thinking that the way to have success and the way to live this life, the American dream, whatever that is to go to school, get a degree, get a good, safe, secure job, whatever in the world that is. And then use the money from the job to buy a house, buy a car, live in a nice neighborhood. And then they called you the middle class. I got news for you. Poor people don't pay taxes. Think about it. When you were making $30,000, $40,000 or less each year, were you paying taxes or was the government paying you? The government was paying you because you don't make enough money, right? So the government pays you. When I was very poor before I became homeless for the third time, as if I didn't learn my lesson the first two times, apparently not. And so whenever I was homeless, or right before I became homeless, I used to get tax returns from the government. And so I would take those tax returns and spend them. I would buy TVs, I would buy shoes, I would buy whatever looked good, right? And then I'd be back to zero. And then what's my game plan now? Continue down the dead end. I would just keep driving down the dead end as if something was going to open up, not understanding that the path had already been revealed to me. I just didn't interpret the sign. I knew the road was out, but it never registered with me that I could turn around and do something different. And so I kept going. And then 10 years went by. And then 20 years went by. And I woke up and I was, wait a minute. What am I doing with my life? Why are my finances so jacked up? Is it a access to money problem? No. I get my hands on money. I mismanage it. But there's got to be more to it. Why am I still in this situation? And so there are people waking up today, because I told you half of the exit is companies firing you and laying you off. And then the other half is people going, time out. I'm tired of this. I've been doing this for so long and it has not worked out. I've been dating this business. This business does not want to propose to me. I've been dating this job. It doesn't want to put a ring on my finger, right? It doesn't want commitment. It just wants to use me and then turn me over, give me back to my family, to my friends, worn out, beaten up at the end of my life. And that's no way to live. And so I'm here to wake you up and say, hey, you're here because you're supposed to learn this and change your life. You're not here by coincidence. I don't believe that at all. And so here you go down the dead end, changing nothing, but not understanding that if you don't change anything, nothing's going to change. And so the way you grew up believing certain things is disrupting your entire life. So for instance, you might have grown up believing that college equals success. And then I'm here to tell you that ain't true. And then you might say, hey, getting a job by trading time for money is the best way to live. And I'm here to tell you the lie detector test determined that was a lie. And then you might say, wait, I'll get that job because that job will let me go out and buy a house for my family because that makes me an adult, right? Something like that, right? And I'm here to tell you that the house you live in and pay a note on is not an asset. It's a liability. What? Yeah, it's a bad investment. You didn't know that, did you? See, nobody's teaching this. And then you might say, hey, and now after I get that house, pay all my bills, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to save my money I'm going to save my money in the bank for a rainy day and emergency. And then I'll pop up and say, why would you manifest a rainy day in your life? And why are you sitting here manifesting an emergency? Secondly, when was the last time you had to spend thousands of dollars in the same day on an emergency? Does not happen. And if you did, you could use a credit card to pay that. You could leverage something to pay that. You could borrow money to pay that. You could pawn something. You could sell something. You could do a fundraiser. You could do a lot of things to make the money. So when I tell you, hey, the banks used to pay interest, they no longer pay interest. Now I'm telling you that saving money in a dying bank account, yes, it's dying. The reason it's dying is because the banks pay you zero interest. They pay you zero interest, yet you put your money in there, deposit it. They use your money to make money while paying you nothing in return. That's not even the worst part, even though the banks are getting rich. Somebody said, can you, hold on a second. So even though the banks are using you to get rich, that's not the worst part. The worst part is that when you park the money in the bank, so say you do something small, you park $5,000 in a bank account, it's in your savings. So you wake up every day, check your phone, and there it is, and it makes you feel a little secure. But I'm here to wake you up and say, did you know that money was dead? Yeah, you didn't bury it. Yeah, but it deserves a funeral. Well, how could it be dead? Well, is it dead to the bank? No. It's not dead to the bank. It's making them rich. They're loaning your money. You can't do that. Yeah, your money's in the bank dying. They're using it. You're not. Did you know that money is only useful when it's used? Did you know that money is a tool and it's only good if you exchange it for something else? So if you take this $5,000 and you exchange it for something, that's a good thing. Well, it depends on what it is, but it does bring some value because you use the money to do something. Whereas if you put the money in a bank account, it does nothing but make someone else rich, you poor, because you're sitting on cash that you could be using to change your life. Now, I'm not telling you your bank account should be zero. I'm just telling you don't focus on saving money like you've been doing. Instead, focus on using the money to make money. Does that make sense? Hit the thumbs up if this is making sense. That's the only way I know if you guys are understanding what I'm telling you. Somebody said, can you utilize the house to a benefit? Yeah, the reason I tell you that a house is and that's a good question. The reason I tell you that a house is a liability, and I'll erase this real quick so I can show you better than I can tell you, because I'm a visual person. That's why I'm always in front of the board. I didn't learn I learned by doing. I wasn't one of those students that I would learn just by seeing the teacher do the work or just listen. No. I gotta get up here. You gotta show me, right? I have to do it. So yeah. So let's see. All right. So here's the number one rule of what's a liability. Excuse me. The number one rule of what's a liability and what's an asset. So let's start with that. So an asset versus a liability. So this is where we start. By the way, guys, if you have a question or comment, drop it real quick. I'm not going to be long on here. So if I see it, I'll get to it. So an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. We'll just put in. All right. To make this very simple. So an asset puts money in to your pocket. Make sense? A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. This is a very, very simple definition, and that's all it requires. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket, whether you work or not. Doesn't matter. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket, whether you work or not. So the money movement is called cash flow. You call it a cash river. You could call it currency. It's always moving. This is just cash flow. So in order to know if something is an asset or a liability, the rule is you follow the cash flow. If the money moves to you, it's an asset. It's a good thing for you to invest in and have. If the money moves away from you, it's a liability. Now that we understand how to determine if it's a liability or an asset, just to follow the cash flow. So yeah, you can write some of it off. You can't write the house off. You can only write like an office off or stuff like that. But it does help. That's a fact. But it does help. But it still doesn't change the fact that the house is a liability. Not all houses, but the one you live in and pay a mortgage on is a liability. So I'll show you. And there's nothing wrong with having a house. I'm not telling you don't have a house. I'm just telling you understand what it is so you know how to move, right? I don't mind having a house. My wife loves big houses. She also knows if we live in it and we pay for it, it's a liability, right? So liability asset, now you understand that it's determined by cash flow. Cash flows to you, good thing. Cash flows away from you, bad thing. So let's say you go out and you buy a house, right? This is your house, happy home, happy life, happy wife, happy wife, happy life, okay? And that's a fact. So you go out, you buy the house, right? And so the first thing I'm going to say is, how are you going to pay for your house? And then you're going to say, well, I have a job. And so at this job, I'm going to use my paycheck. Because the realtors are going to ask you, what can you afford? And you're going to look at your paycheck. Most people are. And you're going to say, my paycheck has X amount of dollars. That means I can afford this, right? And so now you go out, you buy the house, right? This is a tough way to do it, but people do it all the time. And I wish they taught what I'm going to teach you in school, but they won't. Because they don't want you to know this. I do though. My kids are going to know it. So you go out, buy the house with a paycheck. They sell you this thing called a death pledge. So you get a 30-year mortgage. Did you know the word mortgage means death pledge? I think it's from a French derivative. Mortgage is a French derivative of the word death pledge. Go look it up. I'm not making this up. Think about mortgage, mortician. Think about all that. Mortgage. So mortgage is simply a death pledge, but nobody's going to buy a death pledge. Then again, I don't know. People are crazy. They buy anything. So instead of a death pledge, they renamed it mortgage, right? To make it friendly. So you're going to use your paycheck to pay your mortgage, right? You're going to use your paycheck to pay for your mortgage. Okay, gotcha. How long is your mortgage? 30 years. What's the interest rate? Don't matter. I don't care. Don't matter to me. 30 years, your paycheck is going to cover your mortgage for 30 years. Paycheck is going to cover the mortgage for 30 years. Now, here's the question. When you live in the house, I proved to you that it's a liability. When the mortgage is due each month, does money flow in from the bank to you, or does money flow from you to the bank or the lender? Somebody let me know in the comments. Does money flow in when you have a mortgage from the lender to you? Do they pay you, or does money flow out? Right? Does money flow out? What do you mean all that can change? Does money flow out? So obviously when the mortgage is due, for the worse, yeah. So obviously when the mortgage is due, money flows from you, the loan owner, to the lender, or in this case, we'll just put the bank. So money flows from you to the bank when the mortgage is due. That makes it a what? A liability based on what? The cash flow. So this video is turning into how to buy a house like a boss. So the money's flowing. If the money's, and I don't even know how we got to this, must be meant for somebody to talk about this, but I'm with it. The asset and liability is determined by where the cash flows to. So if you ever want to look at something and go, hey, I need to determine if this is a liability or a cash flow, or an asset, then all you're going to do, let me check the time, guys, because y'all always keep me longer than I be wanting to be on here. And financial knowledge, you got it. And so, by the way, guys, if you missed the training last night, it was a blast. Walked everybody through how to create a business or what are the steps to be able to build a middleman business. Because the reason I come on and teach you all this is so you can learn to make money when you're not at work. That's the secret to living a life. The new American dream is freedom. I'm telling you, it's freedom. So if you missed it, because I had a couple people email me and message me online that they got the time and stuff mixed up or they weren't able to make it. So this Thursday night, I think it's April the 4th, so I don't know when you're watching this, but this Thursday night, I'm going to do another live training. It's going to be about 45 minutes, and I'm going to teach you step-by-step what I do. So my advice to you is get there early. Don't be late. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do, right? Because I'm spending a lot of time with my students teaching them how to build a business from their phone. If you want to learn how to do what I do, book, deposit, dispatch, find customers for businesses and get paid to do it. The same way that Uber does when they find a driver and they find a rider and then they match them, they get paid. I'm going to teach you the same thing. Find a customer, find a business, match them, you get paid. When matches are made, you get paid. If you want to get into that, put middleman in the comments, or you can put middleman under any of the videos. If you get a link, be there. If you don't get a Zoom link, that means we've cut them off. And but just don't miss it. It's worth it. I think it's going to bless you. You got to learn how to make money when you're not at work. I'm telling you, these jobs are not safe. Can't stress that enough. I hope y'all get it. So again, you buy the house and you pay the bank. So as soon as you pay the bank, that means money leaves your account, goes into the bank or the lender, which makes it a liability based on what? The rules of cash flow. So now you know that your house is a liability. So what do you do now? Well, there are things that make a house an asset. So for instance, if you rented the house out and a tenant lived in there, then the tenant would pay you, right? So if you rent the house out, right, and you had a tenant in there, the tenant would pay you and then you would pay the bank based on, look at that, that's a middleman right there without even thinking about it. You're the middleman. Then the tenant would pay you, and then you would take a portion of that money, pay off the loan, and then put the rest in your pocket. That would make it an asset. This makes it a liability. This makes it an asset. So if the house generates money for you, cash flow for you, then it's an asset. So if you Airbnb it, that makes it an asset. If you get a renter or a tenant, that makes it an asset. But as long as you're the one out of your own pocket paying the mortgage, then it's a liability. It's a liability. Let me put this up. My wife's been looking for this. I got it in my pocket. She's gonna kill me. It's my daughter's Renly. She's almost one. It's her the back from one of her earrings. Ouch. I'm gonna get in trouble. All right, so here we go. No, I'm not. She's retired. I'm gonna say, didn't I retire you like I promised? And but if the money is flowing, if the money flows from the house to you, that's an asset. If you're the one that's paying the mortgage, that's a liability. And so this is the way to do it that'll always keep you broke, always keep you poor. Because most people are going to say, this is why I tell you, don't buy houses with paychecks. Because people are going to say right now, yeah, especially realtors, yeah, it's a great time to get in the market, blah, 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 whatever. It's a great time for them to get you into the market. And that's why I hate, people don't like salespeople, because they always want to push their ambitions on you. They always want to push the results they want on you. And I always say in sales, hey, listen, I'm not here to drag you or pull you to any desired outcome. I'm just here. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to, force you. I'm just here to persuade you to do business with me. If you want the house, you want the house. Just buy it through me. Work with me. Partner with me. But I'm not going to force my outcome on you because I need a paycheck. I ain't rocking like that. Even with my middleman training. Hey, you want to get it? You want to change your life? There it is. You want to stay where you are? Good luck. Why? Because I'm not dragging and pulling people across the finish line. That's not me. I'm not doing that. If you don't want to accomplish anything in this life, get with the 90%. They don't want to accomplish anything either. But if you want to change your life, and more importantly, change the lives of those behind you, then you got to get on this 10% bus. You got to get on this 10% bus. Absolutely. Appreciate it. And so tenant pays you, then that makes it a liability. So, and I get in a lot of trouble for this when I tell people don't buy houses, right? Because what's the reason people buy houses, right? Other than it's your dream house, other than I make stupid amounts of money, I don't even care what a house costs. And it's not a lot of people that can do that, other than, this is where I want to live and I never want to move again. Okay, I got you with that stuff, right? But if, buying a house is a big deal. So you might want to make a good decision when you go out and buy a house. First of all, houses are not affordable at all. So people are going to say, yeah, but if you buy a house, it gets positive equity. I'm here to tell you that the market is at an all-time high, which means the only way it can go is down. You're going to end up with something people don't like to talk about, which is negative equity. Never hear about that, huh? Because they always tell you it goes up. That ain't true. Do your research. Housing prices are dropping. That means if you bought a house 2 years ago, you probably lost $50,000 in equity already. Negative equity. It's not always this way. I'm just telling you, this is a part of it that you don't always hear about. So there's going to be no equity for you. So if equity is your goal, don't buy a house. Yeah, it's like buying a car, which, by the way, brings me to my next point. Don't buy new cars. Just not worth it. They're overpriced. Buy a used car, a year or two, whatever. You don't have to have it because it says 24. I could buy a 2020 right now today and be happy. Save half off the cost. Now, I don't want it if it's got like buku, tell them from South Louisiana. I don't want it if it's like it got like buku miles on it. I don't want that. I want something that's going to be dependable, reliable, certified. But if I can save $20,000 waiting a year or two to buy it, let's go. What are we talking about? I could use that $20,000 to start a business and make money. Come on, you got to use money. I keep telling you guys, stop saving money. Use money. Now, I walked you through dead-end money advice. Go to college. Listen, if you need special training, doctor, lawyer, brain surgeon, yes, go to college. Try to go as cheaply as possible or on a scholarship. But if you need like specialist training, you don't want a brain surgeon who just has a degree, what do you call it? A community college degree. Come on, let's be real. There are certain people who we need them to go to college. Nothing wrong with that. But for most people, probably 80% of people, you don't need to be in college. College is the only place that they'll force you to buy their products that you don't need and then bill you for it. Right? And so they'll force you to buy their product. College is the only place you could go to where the government will give you $100,000 to go and learn. They won't give you $10,000 to start a business. Think about that. So college is one of the few places you could go to where if you're going to be a doctor, they'll force you to give them $10,000 so they can bill you for the history of art. And you're sitting there like, what am I going to do with this? Why is it in my buggy? Why is it in my shopping cart? Because that's the setup. You should have been following me by now. I told you, if you're not tracking, you're lacking. So now that you know college, other than being a specialist, is a bad idea. In fact, a lot of companies can't even afford your degree anymore. They're hired the person that you'll come in and say, hey, I got this degree. I'm worth $80,000 a year. Mary will come in and say, I do not have a degree. And then I'll say, but I can get Mary for $40,000. Johnny wants $80,000, but here's the difference. Mary doesn't know what Johnny knows. Okay, gotcha. Then I'm going to go to Sam, my office manager, and say, Sam, you got anybody who could train Mary? Yeah, I could train her. How soon until we can have her ready to go? Give me about 6 weeks. I'll have her ready to go. 6 weeks, 40 grand. You can go home because I can't pay you 80 because your degree too expensive. And you can't work for less because you need the money for the loan. You're already upside down. Come on, I could go deep into that. Just think how they're using you. Goodness gracious. Y'all can't see this? Come on. And so now you're taught, by the way, I'm not going to teach my kids any of this. My son's 3, he'll be 4 soon. My daughter's 1 almost, right? I'm not going to teach them to do any of this. You know why? Because you're going to teach your kids to go to college. I'm going to teach my kids to start a business so they can hire your kids. Because I know your kids are going to need a job because they have the debt. Make sense? Don't get mad at me. You should be mad at yourself for teaching your kids this. Somebody said exactly. There you go. You're going to teach your kids to start a job. I'm going to teach my kids to start a business. Now, don't get me wrong. If my kids grow up and they say, hey, Dad, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a dentist. I want to be a doctor. I have no problems with that. I'm going to support them, right? But I'm still going to teach them to start a business. But if they want to go to college, dad's behind them. So I'm not telling you college is a bad thing. I'm just telling you if you're not somebody who needs specialist training, if your job don't require a PhD, then go do something else. Straight up. You're going to teach your kids to buy houses, right? I'm going to teach my kids to own houses. The difference is your kids are going to pay my kids to live in a house. Because my kids are going to use cash flow from a business to acquire assets like a home. And then let your kids live in a home and pay the rent and the mortgage. I'm giving you game. It doesn't have to be that way. You can do what I do. You're going to teach your kids to save money? I'm not. I'm going to teach my kids to use money. You're going to teach your kids to think like your grandma, put everything in the bank. I'm going to teach my kids to think like the bank. I'm going to teach my kids to think like the bank, to use money to make more money. What are you saving for? I know. Emergencies, rainy days. What are my kids' bank accounts saved for? Oh, opportunities. They're just looking to make more money. My kid's got 10 grand in the bank. He's looking around like, who got a deal? Whose business need 10 grand? Hey, I got a snowball stand. I want to convert it into a little snowball shop. Okay, got you. What you need? Hey, I need 10 grand for this first month. Got you. What's my take? When do I get paid again? What kind of equity can I get out of this company? What about if we partner together? See, the thinking is totally different. Now, if they showed this video in college, kids will walk out of class today, but they'll never show it to you. Never. Don't get me started. But that's what you're going to teach your kids. This is what I'm going to teach my kids. This is a great video, by the way, because I know it's great information. I know it is because nobody's teaching you this, right? And so you're going to use your paycheck to buy a house. Now you're in prison because the only way you know how to buy a house is with a paycheck for 30 years. So now you have to keep that paycheck to pay the mortgage for 30 years. To me, that's voluntary prison. You just bought a house the worst way you can buy one, with a paycheck. Why is that the worst one? How long is your mortgage? 30 years? How do you pay it? With a paycheck? Well, you got to have a what to pay the mortgage? A paycheck. From where? Who gives paychecks away? Jobs. By doing what? Trading my time for money? Yep, prison. It is what it is. If you ain't tracking, you're lacking. If this is making sense, smash the thumbs up. Now, I'm going to show you this real quick, and then I'm going to let you go about your day. And this is going to bless you. So instead of doing that, now that you know the difference between an asset and a liability, now you know what I'm going to teach my kids, as opposed to what you're going to teach your kids. I'm going to show you the proper way to buy a house. This is my own personal formula. Don't laugh. It's asset. A is for asset. C is for cash flow. And L is for liability. But you guys knew that. You're a smart bunch. It's crazy. I hated school. Here I am teaching. So I hated government school. I love to teach freedom, though. Asset times cash flow equals liability. What does that mean? That means instead of saving money like all of you do, use the money to acquire an asset. So let's say you start a business. I'm biased, so let's say you start a middleman business. Right? You let that business grow. That business produces something called cash flow. Let's say it's just $5,000 a month, not even a lot, not going to make you rich. But you start a middleman business, your business makes $5,000 a month. Your house that you dream of, by the way, this is like, if you get this, it's probably like a $1.2 million home. So you know it's a nice home. So your business make $5,000 a month. The house you want to live in, it's a decent house. So let's just say $3,000 a month, right? $3,000 a month mortgage. That mortgage is 30 years. Who cares? Because you're not going to pay for the house. The business is. What does that mean? You don't need a job to live in your dream house. You are free to move about the cabin. Do whatever you want to do. As long as your business is open and making money, you're simply going to use the business to generate cash flow and then let that cash flow buy your house. You could take house out. You could put car. You could take car out. You could put vacation. You could take vacation out, and on and on and on. Is this making sense? If this is blessing you and you're tracking this, smash the thumbs up. If you have a question or comment, drop it now because I'm about to get off. But if this is blessing you and you're tracking this, let me know. Smash that thumbs up if this is helping you. I know it is. But that's how I grow the channel. So giving you all this free information, all I ask is that you smash the thumbs up and subscribe. So if you want to buy a house, whatever the liability is, all you have to do is use the asset to create cash flow. Let it grow, create cash flow. As the cash flow grows, you simply use the cash flow to buy the liability, which is the house. So now you don't need a job. You don't need a 9-to-5. You don't need a paycheck. You don't need your boss's crap. You don't need the morning meetings. You don't need the 2 hours of traffic each way or one way. You don't need the gross coming and the net where the money's coming out of your check. You don't need the government in your business. You don't need any of that. You don't need the stress. You don't need the headaches, right? And now you're free. You don't need prison for 30 years to buy a house. I just showed you in 2 minutes, really, less than that, how to use this formula. Asset times cash flow equals liability. Whatever the liability is, could be a house, it could be a car, it could be the vacation you want to take. Listen, let me show you how I operate. And I'll show you this real quick and then I'm gone. If you have a question or comment, you better drop it now. If you want to get into the live middleman training, it's going down this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Texas time, Central time. Please don't miss it. It might be the last one I ever do. So it's about 45 minutes. I'm going to teach you what I do. The only thing I do is I work from home. I'm on pace this year to do $350,000 from home on my phone only. And all I do is three things. I book customers. I dispatch the work. I take a deposit. Got to get paid before I dispatch. And then I dispatch the work to other businesses and let them go out and do the work. I don't do any of the work. I simply find a customer for them. I get paid by the customer. And then I send the work to someone else to do it. I do this as much as I can. I'm on pace to do $350,000 this year. If you think this is my first year of doing it, it's not. I wish I would have done 350 my first year in 2020. I did it in 2020. Whenever I first started this, I only did 77,000. So not bad. Wasn't even 100,000, but it's still a blessing because I didn't have to leave home. And the first thing that happened this year, two things. Number one, I told my wife she doesn't have to go back to work as a dental hygienist again. She was making 100,000 a year, but I knew in order to get her out of that job, I had to be able to replace that income. And so this year, she doesn't work. Well, she works sometimes, just to be honest with you. But we don't need her paycheck. She doesn't have to work, but she's not a person who's just going to sit around all the time. So I just want to tell you, retirement is overrated. You just want to be free. You just want to be free. If you want to go work hard one day, fine, do what you want. Stay active. I just like the fact that, hey, I can run my own schedule. So I might come and do some hard work with you Monday. But you know what? I'm probably going to take the weekend off. I'm probably, take a few extra days. I don't need a job to get to do what I want to do. So that's the beauty of it. That's why I always talk to you about being free, not being a millionaire, not being rich. I don't mind if you get that far. I hope you do. I want to get there too. And there's nothing wrong with it. But the main thing is freedom, because the time is the most valuable thing you got. So even if you don't get $1 million a year, if you can start a middleman business and make $5,000 extra a month, 60 grand a year doesn't make you rich, but it does make you free because you don't have to go to work. If I could just teach that for an hour, it'll change people's lives. So, all right, I'm about to get off, but I just wanted to share that with you. Somebody said cash flow solves everything. Shouldn't you base everything on cash flow? Hell to the yes. Cash flow is the name of the money game. It doesn't even have to be a lot. I'll show you. And see, you guys always do this to me with these great questions. And let's see. So I got a little bit of time. I'll spend it with you because I got to do some grocery shopping. My wife gave me a list, and sometimes I don't take the list with me and I miss all kind of stuff. So today I'm taking a list. Somebody said, thanks for the info. I appreciate it, man. Maybe consider an evergreen webinar for your free trainings. I'm not sure what that is. What is evergreen? Is that like a platform? Never heard of it. Really quickly, sounds cool though. Drop a little info if you don't mind. Again, cash flow is the name of the game because I'll show you real quick. I hope y'all got all this. I know it's a lot. I know I'm going through just this short video could change people's lives. So I'll show you something real quick. But if you want to know how to do that, build your own business, put middleman in the comments under any of my videos, because even here, I'm not sure how to always put middleman in here. I try to do it, but if you put it on this video after I finish it and it's on the platform, Cynthia's going to see it. She'll send you an invite. If she doesn't, that means we have everybody we want in there, or you could put it under any other video. So, but make sure to be there. I just want to change your life. Put middleman in the comments under any of my videos and get an invite. If you do not get an invite back within a couple of hours, please put middleman under there. Again, don't miss it. So book, deposit, dispatch. So I want to show you the difference. I'll leave that up here and I want to show you something real quick. So I've already showed you how to buy a house. I'm covering so much. I already showed you the dead end money game you're playing. And you should be on this column and not that column. Go back and watch the video. If you missed it, share it also with somebody. And I told you that the name of the game is not to be rich, but the name of the game is to be free, right? And so I'll show you this real quick about cash flow, and then I'm gone. So cash flow works this way. So let's say it cost you Uh, let's say your expenses, so we'll just put your bills. Let's say your bills each month cost you 5,000, right? So your bills each month cost you $5,000. Not a whole lot, but let me show you the difference. So if you need that 5,000 because that's what your expenses for life is, then most people are going to have a job. First thing happens with your job, you're going to pay taxes. Then you're going to pay your bills. And then if there's anything left, you've been trained very well, and you're going to save it in a dying bank account where that money has no value. It just dies. Not for the banks use it to get rich. You don't. So think about it this way. The banks tell you to save money, but the banks don't save money. That ought to tell you all you need to know. That should have gotten an amen by itself. Okay, I'll preach over here. The banks tell you to save money, but the banks themselves don't save money. If you can't amen me, I'll amen myself. Okay? So you'll go and get a job, taxed up front, pay your bills with what's left, try to save anything if there's anything left. And that's a tough way to live because all you do is trade time for money until you run out of time. And then you're out of here. What a way to live. That's terrible. So what I tell you is, hey, instead of doing that, let's go create a business, start a middleman business with your phone, let that thing grow to create something called cash flow. Let the cash flow cover your lifestyle and your bills. And then instead of saving money like everyone else does, use money again to do something else and multiply your money again. See the difference? So if you want to struggle through life and sell your time for money until you die, then go ahead and get a job and sell all the time you can. You're off on weekends? Sell that too. Sell your Sundays. Sell everything you got. You're going to burn out, guarantee it. But I wouldn't teach my kids to do that. I would teach my kids to create a business where you're willing to sell your time, and your kids are, and we're going to hire your kids and buy their time while we go to the beach, right? So start a business, let that business create cash flow, then let that take care of you. And then instead of saving money, like I know you're going to do, we're going to use our money to make more money, right? So the 5K a month is not a lot of money. The difference is you have to sell your time to get it. I don't. I just have to create a business, right? So I run a middleman business today, but for me, I'm hands off. So I get to do this all day. I'm hands off, meaning, well, I don't do this all day, but I can do it all day if I wanted to. I'm hands off, which means that I don't have to be on a physical job. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't even have to answer my phones anymore. Why? Because I hired a VA who does that. Now, that just started in January, but before that, I would still work on my business about an hour a day. I was working Monday through Thursday. I'd work an hour a day on my business. That was fine. An hour for me is better than 8-10 hours for somebody else, right? And so my business grew. I was able to hire a VA, train her. She took over the day-to-day. I'm hands down. I'm hands off. I get to hang out with my wife, hang out with my family, hang out with my kids. I can do whatever I want to do. And you don't have to be rich to do it. If your bills are less than $5,000 a month and your business makes you $5,000 a month, you're free to do whatever you want to do. You don't have to be rich. It's a webinar that you record that plays 24/7. People can schedule. Wow. Okay. Oh, nice. I have to check that out then. I'll see if that's an app or something, right? Is it an app, by the way? You could just say yes or no. Evergreen, I'll make a note, man. That sounds pretty cool. Evergreen. I think that's what he said. I'll go back and check that, or I'll have my assistant Cynthia check that out. But again, I like, my thing is to always have time, freedom. It's not so much the money. Yes, we want the money, but the most important thing to me is to have the time, because the money I can get. I can lose money, get it back. I can never get my time back. So when my 1-year-old daughter, if I'm working for the next 20 years and she's 21, I'll never get the time back to be able to go back, hold her hands, spend time with her, go to her school functions, buy her ice cream, clean her up, buy her another ice cream because she dropped that one, because we know they will, right? which happened with my son. There's this cool place in downtown Dallas called the Dalai Lama, and they make all these colorful, really delicious ice creams. And as soon as I bought it for him, guess what he did? You already know, dropped it on the ground. So he cries. I got to go back in there and get in line. They gave it to me for free, which was shocking, but no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. These are good people. And that place always has a line. It's so nuts. I could eat that ice cream all day. But what am I talking about? I'm plugging this company for no reason. But anyway, guys, I'll read this last comment, then I'm going to bounce. Let you get back to your day. It says even 5K a year, you're still doing better than government assistance. I keep telling you guys, man. The only question is how much time you're going to waste continuing this pattern of working for money, trading time for money. Don't you know you're running out of time? You're running out of time. Everything you need to do in this life, do it with a sense of urgency. Everything. Please, please, please. Don't for a second think you have time. You don't. Go fast. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to accomplish, listen to me good. Go fast. Not recklessly, but go fast. Even if you're going the wrong way, the faster you go, the faster you'll find out the faster you'll pivot. But I'm just telling you, go quickly. You don't have time. Stop telling yourself that. It's the one thing you don't have. That's a promise. So time is the most important thing. Steve Jobs died a billionaire. I promise you that he would give up every single dollar and die broke if it would have given him an opportunity to spend an extra day with his family. You know how I know? Because you would, I would. The money does us no good when we're gone. So all I'm telling you is use the time to get the money, right? Use the money to get back the time. Change your life. Stop focusing on savings. That's what poor people do. That's why they poor. I got money in the bank. I know, but you poor mentally. Your mindset is broke. So I had a guy comment one time and he was like, you're wrong about saving. I save up 500 grand. Think about how stupid that comment is. He's got $500,000 in a bank that makes the bank rich because they just keep loaning it over and over. Whereas he just gets to wake up and look at it on an app and go back to sleep and feel secure. But the truth is the money does nothing for him. So whether it's in his account or not, it doesn't even matter because he doesn't use it. Think of how stupid that is. When he could have put 5 grand, 10 grand in a savings account, left it there, taken $490,000, put it into something, a business, an investment, a house flip, I do not care. Something that had the potential to make more money. But because he sat on it, he's a wicked servant. And if you know the parable of the talents, you know what I'm talking about. Don't sit on your talents. Don't sit on your hopes. Don't sit on your goals, your dreams. Don't bury your potential. Use it, multiply it. It's a gift. Use the gift, or you're going to leave here with all the gifts that you came with. What a sad way to live. I want to leave here exhausted, burned out, having used everything that God gave me. That's how I want to leave this world and say, hey, everything you gave me, I use it to the max of my ability. Everything. That's why I don't have a emergency account. I don't have a rainy day account because I don't want those things. I don't manifest stuff I don't want. I have an opportunity account. I'll manifest that because I want my kids to be rich. Even if I'm never rich, I want my kids to be rich. Now, don't get me wrong, $350,000 a year, I consider that to be rich. That means $1 million every 3 years. I think $250,000 a year is rich because you make $1 million every 4 years, probably even 200. Not bad. You can pretty much live the life you want to live when you get to about 150, 160,000. Inflation is not going to bother you. You do whatever you want to do, right? But okay, you don't have to buy the Lambo. You can rent that. Okay. All right. I'm just here to give y'all some game. Comment middleman if you want to get into the middleman training. I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. Tell somebody else about the channel if you don't mind. Whoever sent me that evergreen thing, I'm going to check it out. I really appreciate that. Thank you for helping me out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed day. Get into the live training this Thursday night. It could possibly be my last because I'm running out of time to be able to do it. Somebody gave me a great tip, though, so we're going to look into that. But have a wonderful, blessed day. Please, 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 if you want to learn how to start a middleman business, get into the masterclass. I'll put the link in the comments below. Just click it. There's 2 options. There's the masterclass by itself, which is 8+ hours. I teach you the entire game. When you finish, you'll be ready to start your own business from your home, from anywhere really, but using your phone, more importantly, without having to go to work. Uh, the other option is the VIP. The VIP, and I'll put that link also. The VIP is the masterclass plus mentorship with me, one-on-one coaching with me. You can ask any of my students. I'm with them all the way, helping you guys to set up your business until you become successful. Most students right now are averaging anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500. I did have a student do 4,800, but it was only one student. So, but the majority are 3,000 to 4,500 for the first month, which is still not bad, especially not first month starting a business. And the money ain't even the important part. The important part is you don't have to have a job to do it. That's freedom. I'm on here to teach you how to get freedom, not how to be rich. I want you to be rich, not $1 million a year. I want you to have that. But more importantly, even if you make $10,000 a month and your bills are $5,000, you're free. That's what the game is. So put Middleman in the comments if you want to bypass all that and go right into the masterclass and start working with me. I'm ready to rock and roll. Click on the first comment below and choose the course. If you want just the course, it is less. It does cost less, but it does not include me or anything like that. It's just a course. But if you get the VIP, it's me and all the other goodies that come with it. And so get the VIP so I can work with you. That's my joy. I always say the best part is you get to work with me and I get to work with you. All right, guys, have a wonderful, blessed day and make sure that you focus on being free. I hope I said something that'll bless you and change your life. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. I do appreciate it. See you guys later. Peace. Peace, dog.